you very much for talking to us today.
That's fine, yeah.
So how long were you married to Carol before you noticed there were some problems?
Oh, the problems only started about 3 years ago, I suppose.
Okay, so how long had you been married for then?
Oh, must be a good 10 or 12, I would think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And about 3 years ago, what did you start noticing?
I noticed you couldn't hold a proper conversation with her. She was getting things wrong and she didn't understand. She wasn't neglecting the house, but she didn't do things as thoroughly as she used to.
And did she have things that she would forget regularly, or?
Yeah, she did. I mean, you could mention someone by name, and she had to think of it, you know.
To remember who they were.
To exactly who they were, what the relationship was, and where they were, you know.
Did that worry either of you?
It did, yes. Yeah, I thought, well, that's not her.
And did it worry her?
I don't think she noticed, to be honest with you. She certainly never ever brought the subject up. No, I don't think. I think it was everyone around her who noticed. She probably suffered more. I think
people around her were noticing there was a problem. But what did they notice in particular?
They noticed just that she wasn't as bright and on the ball as she used to be, and she was getting names mixed up, and that silly little things. But when you put them all together, she was always immaculate. She always was, right up towards the end.
And what about the relationship between the two of you? How was that affected?
And it was a gradual process, you know. Sex life virtually disappeared. I felt I got to the stage where I didn't like to go out, even if it was only over the road, to get a paper and leave her on her own.
You were a bit worried?
Yeah.
What did you worry might happen?
She'd just wander off. She'd go out, you know.
Right.
Even if I went upstairs, sometimes I'd perhaps come down and she'd gone.
Did she get lost?
No, she didn't, funny enough. But by and large, once I realised she'd gone out, I had a rough idea where she would have gone. And I used to go out in the car and follow her.
Okay.
Or find her.
That must have been quite worrying.
The worst part that really worried me was that when she went missing one day, I went the normal route, just locally around here, you know, and I couldn't see her anywhere. So I went up onto the A12 and turned right going towards Coulston, Yarmouth, knowing that she knows the area. And I finally caught up with her just past James Paget Hospital. She was walking up to her sister, who was in Bradwell. I mean, you know what that road's like, you know, it frightened the life out of me, you know.
Absolutely.
So I got to the stage where I hated doing it. It was probably dangerous, but if I just wanted to pop out for a few minutes, I used to lock all the doors so she couldn't get out, and I had to hide her keys.
So what led to you seeking to get a diagnosis?
Largely because I felt everything was getting out of hand. I was getting into a bit of a mess. I was getting frustrated and angry, and
so it was you that really prompted getting help, seeking some help.
Yeah.
And what did you do?
Well, I went to the doctor initially.
Your GP.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what happened?
He referred us to the memory clinic at Great Yarmouth. We had a few sessions up there, and then they referred her to Cambridge. They eventually diagnosed it as frontal temporal dementia. In some ways that was a relief, I suppose, because I knew where we stood. I knew what the problem was, I knew there was no cure, and ultimately, I suppose deep down, I knew that I wouldn't be able to keep her at home forever. And that was hard.
You must have been.
Sorry.
Don't apologise. How was Carol about the diagnosis? Could she take it in?
I don't think she really took it all in, to be honest with you. Which in some ways was a godsend, I suppose.
You couldn't really understand the implications of it?
No.
No.
Yeah, as I say, I carried on as long as I could. But then once we visited Cambridge, and I actually put a name to it. I don't know where we were, and
Yes.
ultimately,
Yes.
I couldn't keep her at home forever.
No, but it enabled you to make plans.
Yeah.
What sort of things were you able to do as a result of knowing?
So I arranged for someone to come home
Mm.
and sit with her. You talk to her. They took her out for. She was a nice lady. I can't remember her name now. She used to take her out for a ride in her car sometimes up to Galston because I told her what she liked
Was
and
that
what she
somebody
did.
from the Alzheimer's Society? Or?
Yeah, I think he was.
Right.
Yeah.
So they would help as well.
Oh yeah. That was a big help. You know, it gave me a bit of time on my own.
Has she ever been a bit more challenging, or people found it difficult to manage her behaviour?
I think she has her moments. She's got a nasty habit. I'm hoping she's only done it to me, and as far as I can make out, she's never done it to anybody else. But she boxes me ears.
Mm.
And she's a strong lady, you know, you've been hit, you know, my eyes water, my ears ring, and oh, it really does hurt. And then she'll just look at you and smile and give you a kiss. I think, oh, okay, if it helps you get through the day, I can live with that. But she seems to have settled down more. That hasn't happened for a long while. She is very affectionate still. I always get a big smile when I arrive, and I'd like to think that there's still something up there that knows you're right then.
Mm.
But I can't be certain because she does it to everybody. And because then, to make matters worse, she's doubly incontinent. So,
Yes.
um,
It would have been impossible for you to manage that.
well, yes, it was difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
We had a few meetings, and occasionally they'd come round and see her. But it eventually got to the stage where I think where they obviously both agreed that it couldn't go on as it was, you know.
So
And that's when he took her up the old vicarage.
was there any other thing else you did, like such as power of attorney? Or?
I did power of attorney for our eldest son, Tim, because he was the eldest.
What would you say to people who are wondering about whether they should ask for a memory test?
Get it, yeah. Get whatever's going.
And do you think it's important to get it early?
Yes, as early as possible. Yeah. The slightest hint of any change in behaviour or lacking hygiene or eating habits, anything like that. If it's enough to worry you, go and see your GP.
What is it that you think that for GPs are the most important things?
I think they've got to be fully aware of exactly how bad it is, mainly for any carers or partners, more so than perhaps the patient themselves, because we all know nothing can be done about it. They can be made safe, they can be given help, but at the end of the day, it's either down to a loved one, a spouse, or family, or anything, or ultimately a home. But you really do, if you're trying to keep them at home, you need good support, really good support from the doctors, which I've had no complaint with at all since we've been up here. You need that. You need that. And I know they must see thousands of cases like this, and you probably keep hearing the same stories. But it's good to have good support, really good support from social workers and your doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You've got to have that.
Right, well, thank you.
And I've always had it.
Good. I'm pleased to hear that.
You're welcome.
And thank you for talking to us today.
No problem.
Brilliant, thank you.
Right.